My name is Randy Staats, and you're listening to Pro Lacrosse Talk.
On Schreiber. Sidearm whip, scores!
Now in front, Padel scores! Hands off for Rabel, switches hands and scores!
Kylie O'Miller showing off those shifty skills.
Right off the bat, there's Lyle Thompson.
Hard pick there, Staats. What a shot.
Outside bouncer from Randy Staats.
Welcome to Pro Lacrosse Talk, the voice of Pro Lacrosse. I'm Hutton, he's Adam. Together we're bringing you interviews with your favorite players and coaches, as well as news from all 4 professional lacrosse leagues. We're here with Randy Staats, forward with the Georgia Swarm, attackman with the Atlanta Blaze, and member of the Iroquois Men's National Lacrosse team. Randy, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So Randy, you grew up in the Six Nations, where lacrosse is obviously a huge part of your lives and more than just a sport. Tell me how you were first introduced to the game and describe how important it is to you and your culture.
I guess I'll start off. I guess how I got introduced to the lacrosse was my dad and my uncles. They both played the game, and their dad played the game, and it's kind of been a tradition in our family, along with a lot of other families to play the game of lacrosse and introduce it and pass the game down. That's how I kind of got into it. I got into it when I was probably like 3 years old. Well, obviously, when we're born as Indigenous people, we were given a wooden stick in our cradle. So I had one of those as a baby, but obviously don't really know much what's going on when you first come out of the womb and stuff like that. But I started playing lacrosse when I was 3, like organized lacrosse. I kind of just kept with it and stuck with it.
Yeah, you took your eventually took your talents to Onondaga Community College for 2 years before joining the Orange at Syracuse, where you finished with 62 goals and 47 assists for 109 points in just 27 games, which is pretty good. What led to your decision to play for Coach Desko at Cuse, and how do you think it prepared you for the pro game?
Having like a bunch, like Syracuse being Syracuse, right? You know, it's a big name school, and watching Brett Bucktooth, Cody Jameson, Sid Smith, and all those guys play there. Obviously, Casey Powell, all the Powell brothers, the Gay brothers, Eric Check, all those guys, watching them, and I wanted to be a part of that. And so that was kind of a good decision, and I think anybody in the lacrosse world would take advantage of going to Syracuse. It's a great school, and playing for Coach Desko was unbelievable. So I think the way it molded me into being a pro, I think being accountable, personally getting to things on time, working out, doing my homework, taking care of all those kind of things, really helped me be a good pro.
No, that's great. And then, following college, you made it to the pro ranks. You were drafted by the Swarm in 2016. Had a tremendous rookie season. I mean, you recorded 36 goals and 59 assists for 95 points and earned Rookie of the Year honors, setting an NLL record, too, for most points recorded by a rookie. How are you able to make such a smooth transition to the pros, and did anyone mentor you in your first season?
I think me playing box lacrosse pretty much my whole life, like playing Junior A in Six Nations and playing Senior A in Six Nations, and that really helped me going into the NLL. I think that doing those things elevated my game. But as far as that goes, I think someone who mentored me a little bit, who I talked to a lot about the game, was Cody Jameson. He's one of my good friends, and it kind of gave me a little help with whatever I asked here and there. So I guess I would say him.
No, that's great that you had someone to kind of lean on. And then you followed up your rookie campaign. You guys made a championship run with the Swarm, defeating the Saskatchewan Rush in 2 games to win the NLL Championship in 2017. What was it like winning that championship in your second year, and has it left you hungry for another title this season?
Yeah, I think that was one of the craziest games I think I've been a part of. The way that game ended was pretty crazy, and like I said, one of the craziest games I've been a part of. But winning that was pretty incredible. That group of guys that we had there, was also incredible. You know what I mean? And the camaraderie we had on and off the floor was amazing. Well, obviously, every year that's what you play for, is to go to the NLL Champions Cup and try to win it. It's obviously not easy by any means. You got to work week in and week out, and that's the tricky thing with the NLL. We're not together 24/7, so during the week we have to stay on top of our film and workouts and get our stick in our hand. So you always got to stay hungry for those championships and always remember that they don't come easy.
No, absolutely. You certainly were hungry last year, even though you guys felt a little short. But you surpassed your rookie total in points with 96, a new career high. And like I said, you did fall, unfortunately, to the Toronto Rock 16-14 to end last season. But what has the vibe been currently at training camp? And how's Coach Ed Camo been preparing the Swarm to make another championship run this season?
Like I said before, we got to get our chemistry going right off the hop. And I think we have a good core group of guys that have been there for 3 to, I think this is my 5th year. Some guys have been in the league longer. And I think we have a good core of those guys that are still on the team. So I think us getting ready for training camp, I know the season's 2 weeks away, November 30th, but we got to take advantage of every practice and every scrimmage we have. And I think Coach Eddie's doing a great job of bringing us together and preparing us for Rochester on November 30th.
No, that's great. And I'm going to fast forward a little bit to another game on your schedule. You face the Seals, where you'll get a chance to face your brother Austin again. Austin won Rookie of the Year honors last year, just 3 seasons after you won the award. And you guys got to face him. Unfortunately, he went down late with an ACL injury that ultimately ended his season. Tell me how proud you are of your brother, and what excites you the most about playing him again on April 4th?
I'll start off with how proud I am of him. I think me doing what I've done and seeing him come up and doing and creating his own path to break through in the NLL was amazing, and him getting drafted number 1 obviously is also amazing. But I think how hard he works and how he plays the game with kind of a different passion than most people, I would say. You know, he plays hard, he plays physical, he plays and in your face. He loves scoring goals, and I really respect that about him, and he gives it his all out there. As far as when we play each other, it's definitely something different in our family.
Yep.
You know, my mom and dad and, you know, aunts, uncles, and sisters have to watch, and, you know, playing him is always fun. You know, we get to chirp each other a little bit about scoring, or, you know, if he misses a shot, I'll say something like that, throw out a little subtle chirp. But
love it.
You know, it's all good. But no, it's awesome. It's an amazing opportunity, and, you know, not too many people can say they share, you know, Rookie of the Year with their brother, or even get to play a professional sport against them or with them.
Yeah, no, it's great that you guys have that bond, and I like the little, you know, subtle trash talk leading up to game day and on game day as well. Yeah. Let's transition to the field game a little bit. You recently wrapped up a tremendous 50-point season in just 11 games with the Blaze this summer. Unfortunately, the team fell short in OT of the semifinals in what was Atlanta's first playoff game in franchise history. But what about this Blaze team were you most proud of, and what are your hopes for next season?
There's a lot to be proud of. I think the way we kind of stuck it out all year. I know throughout the year, the media had their doubts about us, but I think how good our defense played. You know, we had Chris Madelon back there and Liam Burns anchoring the defense, and they did a great job on making stops when we need it, and the offense, you know, took advantage of certain opportunities. I think that was a big key for us throughout the year, was, you know, getting those defensive stops and executing on offense.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you benefited, too, from some chemistry with some of your Georgia Swarm teammates that were also on the Blaze. Your partner in crime, Shane Jackson, a player who you guys have just so much chemistry on the field. played with you. You also had guys like Brian Cole, Leo Storos, and then now you have Swarm newcomer TJ Camizio. How important has it been to kind of play year-round with some of these guys on both the Swarm and the Blaze?
Yeah, it's actually pretty crazy, and not too many people get to do that either. I play with Shane on 3 different teams, the NLL, Georgia Swarm, and the Atlanta Blaze, and then the Senior A team here in Six Nations. We got to play with each other there, and having those guys around all year round, you create a special bond because you're battling with them week in and week out. And once you play with somebody and like I said, you battle with them, you kind of gain a different relationship, and it's very special.
No, that's great. And this past fall too, you were able to play in the World Indoor Championships as a member of the Iroquois National team. What was it like playing in that tournament with some of your Swarm teammates, as well as representing your nation?
I get asked this question quite a bit, and I think my answer never really changes. Putting on the Iroquois National jersey is probably one of the best things that I feel, because I'm not representing a city or a town or something like that. I'm representing people and a community, and it's not just my community. It's Indigenous people throughout Canada and throughout the United States. And to me, that's bigger than lacrosse. We get to touch so many more people, and that doesn't happen too often. So putting on that jersey and playing for those people is very important to me, and something I cherish and will always cherish.
No, that's incredible. I'm sure it's a great honor to don that jersey, and it's great too that you guys have such a strong connection to the sport of lacrosse and that you guys share it with us. So I appreciate that. That wraps up our main questions. We're going to take a quick break here, a word from our sponsor, and then we'll go into our 5 and 5 segment.
Hey everyone, thank you for listening to another episode of the Pro Lacrosse Talk podcast. We've been using Anchor for our podcast since the very start. Anchor gives you everything you need in one place, and better yet, it's free. They allow you to easily record and edit your podcast so it sounds great and send it out to all the major networks such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and many more. Better yet, they connect you with advertisers so you can start making money from your podcast right away. So if you're interested in starting a podcast, download the Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Today's show is being brought to you in part by Stitcher Premium. You can use Stitcher Premium to listen to shows ad-free such as Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, My Favorite Murder, Wolverine the Lost Trail, or our favorite, The Fantasy Footballers. For only $4.99 a month or $34.99 a year, you get access to Stitcher Originals, bonus episodes, and comedy albums. Better yet, if you go over to Stitcher.com/premium and use the promo code lacrosse today, you can get 1 month free. So head on over to Stitcher, sign up, and get your free trial today. All right, so welcome back. Now let's dive into our 5 and 5. So Randy, I'm going to ask you 5 lacrosse questions and then 5 life questions. Should be some quick answers. Hopefully we have a little bit of fun with this. But the first one I'll start out with is, who is someone in the lacrosse community, whether a teammate, opponent, coach, or even a family member, that you admire?
Yeah, I think for me, watching John Grant Jr. play is one of the biggest things. Who I respect a lot. He's getting up there in age now, and he's still doing crazy things. One-handed goals, one-handed passes, taking guys to the net, and he's been doing that for years. I really respect that, and I think he's got the best hands probably ever to touch a lacrosse stick, and I enjoy watching him play, and it's exciting seeing the things he can do with the lacrosse stick.
Yeah, no, we were all really excited that he decided to come back for the Outlaws this season, and like you said, he's still playing at a high level. So he's definitely somebody I admire, and I know a lot of times we toss around the greatest of all time moniker, but he's definitely making a very strong case for it. Right now I'd probably put him in that category. So no, I gotta agree with you on that. Number 2, what are some pregame superstitions or routines that you have?
Well, when I get dressed, I don't know why. I've been doing this since my junior days, but I put on my left shoe, my left sock, my left arm pad, my left glove. I don't really know why. I do that, and then I'm always one of the first ones out of the locker room when the guys go out to get fist bumps, and then me and Shane Jackson have a little handshake we do, and then we go out. Then I stand in the same spot in the circle. And then me and Brendan Bobberry kind of bump shoulders, and then we go to the bench. So there's kind of what I do, like before a game.
Awesome. Number 3, do you listen to any music? What's your top song on your game day playlist right now?
Game day playlist. I don't really have one. We kind of do. We just have a big speaker in the locker room. I'm not the DJ guy. I don't even know who the DJ guy was last year. I think it might have been Shane or McIntosh, but kind of whatever's going. But if I were to pick, I do like rap, and I'm an old school Eminem fan or Lil Wayne.
All right, I love it. A little lose yourself before games, maybe?
Yeah, get me going, yep.
Yeah, great. Number 4, so I know you're an Epic sponsored athlete. What is your current lacrosse stick setup in terms of shaft, head, and stringing?
Shaft and stringing. I use Dragonfly forward shaft with the Z1 head. I usually tape the butt end pretty big. I like a big butt end. I tape my stick all the way almost to the top. And then I use like everyone says I use a tennis racket, but I use kind of a shallower pocket than most people. I like that because I can get the ball out quick or make a quick pass or make a decision quickly with throwing an accurate pass or shot. Mm-hmm. So I use that, and that's it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting too how I don't know, does it vary a little bit from the field game? Do you change it up a little bit, or do you keep that shallow pocket because they are pretty different sports? Like you said, in the box game you really want to get that ball out quick, where in the field game you have a little bit more time.
No, I use the same pocket in both. I get hurt pretty bad from the guys saying I should have a deeper pocket, but it works for me. And
yeah, 96 points last year and then 50 points for the Blaze. I think you're doing just fine.
Yeah, I think I'm going to keep my pocket.
Yeah, no, I think you should. And then final lacrosse question. What has been your favorite venue to play lacrosse at, whether it's an arena or a field, any level? What's been your favorite venue?
Oh, man,
Can be more than one.
Yeah, there's more than one, but the biggest one right off the top of my head is probably playing my first ever game in the Carrier Dome.
Okay, yeah.
Walking out there and watching so many games of people's name getting called in the starting lineup and actually having that happen to me was pretty special. The second one was probably Denver Broncos Stadium. Mm-hmm. When we played there on the 4th of July, my rookie year, that was pretty crazy and surreal. There was like 30,000 people there. It was insane.
That's great. Yeah.
Those two venues were pretty special to me, and I haven't been to the Dome in a while, but every time I get in there, it brings back old memories, and I'm fortunate enough to play at Broncos Stadium once or twice a year. So.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's funny. We actually talked to Nick Morocco with the Cannons recently, and he too mentioned rookie year playing at Denver was one of his, favorite venues, and it was on 4th of July. And he's funny. He told us too. He's like, I got lit up in the game, but just the atmosphere and the environment was awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like playing on that field, it's like playing on a fairway. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, now let's transition into some of the off-the-field questions. What is your favorite place to go in Atlanta, whether it's, like a restaurant or a museum or anything that you enjoy doing when in the Atlanta area?
I think, just cruising around the Beltline. There's a bunch of restaurants and shops down there and hanging out in kind of the Midtown / a little bit of downtown area. There's a lot to do down there, and, you get to eat some good food, listen to some good live music, and kind of hang out.
That's great. Number 2, what is your favorite meal, and do you prefer to dine out, take out, or cook at home?
It depends. I do like to dine out here and there, but I also do like my girlfriend's cooking. But my favorite food is probably pizza. I'm a big pizza guy, and if I could eat that every day, I probably would. Or also like a nice steak and some veggies too. But I would say pizza if it's quick, and a nice steak if it's a nice sit-down meal.
All right, you can't go wrong with either of those options. Number 2, what are some hobbies or activities you enjoy doing when not on the lacrosse field?
Oh, that's kind of tough.
You mentioned you just did yoga before this interview. Is that on your radar?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not big into yoga. Lyle's kind of just getting into it, and we live kind of close to each other, so I'm going with him a little bit. But I guess that would be one. I mean, hanging out with my daughter and, you know, kind of keeping her occupied as a hobby of mine. And I would say hanging out with just honestly family and friends, and just having some laughs. I don't really do too much other than, you know, work out and focus on lacrosse, hang out with my family, and, you know, do stuff around my house. But other than that, you know, travel, I guess. I travel a lot.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Family's important, and it's great to make time for that. And following that, my next question will be, who's your favorite non-lacrosse athlete to watch? Whether it's a pro, it can be somebody in college, but non-lacrosse athlete that you like to watch.
Non-lacrosse athlete, I like to watch Sidney Crosby.
Okay.
And I like to watch LeBron James, and I like to watch Connor McDavid's been on my radar lately.
Ooh, he's
the
a
guys,
beast.
yeah, he's insane. The stuff
It's
he does,
unbelievable.
and I just think LeBron's a kind of a freak of nature type athlete, and I like Sidney Crosby because he's kind of one of the best leaders in hockey, and has been for decades now. And I like the way he plays and controls the puck. And I think if I were to play any other sport, it'd probably be one of those two. So yeah.
No, those are some great answers. You mentioned Connor McDavid. It's crazy just how fast he is up and down the ice.
Yeah, I think he had 6 points the other night or something like that.
Yeah, he did. I played against a guy that had him in fantasy, so he hurt me in my fantasy matchup for fantasy hockey. But you know, what can you do? He's gonna have nights like that all the time. So, all right, so Randy, my final question is: what is a book on your bookshelf or a podcast that you've been listening to recently that you'd recommend to a teammate or a friend?
Yeah, I don't read books that much, honestly. I should probably read a little bit more, but I do listen to podcasts quite a bit. Podcasts that I'd recommend, I listen to Joe Rogan and Spit and Chicklets quite a bit.
That's funny. Logan Schuss said the same thing.
Those are my two go-tos, and I get a kick out of those guys.
Yeah, that's great. Any comment on Biz Nasty possibly joining the league? You think he can hold his own against some of these guys?
He was a professional hockey player, so he's definitely athletic. But, I mean, having a stick in your hands and doing the lacrosse thing is different than the hockey thing. But I think it's good for our sport, and I think the Vancouver Warriors are doing a good job of kind of, you know, marketing with him. He's kind of a big name right now with the Spit and Chicklets guys. So I think it's good for our sport, and it's good for the NLL, and it's good for the Vancouver Warriors. So we'll see how he does Friday, and hopefully he makes the squad. That'd be pretty funny to see.
That would be funny to see. I have to agree. You know, it to me it's a great publicity stunt if that's all it is. Maybe, you know, he surprises us, but even if he doesn't, I think it's bringing some, you know, needed attention to the NLL, and I think that's important.
Especially positive attention like he's bringing. He's a positive guy, and he does positive things in the community. So it's good on everybody.
Yep, no, absolutely. So that wraps up our 5 and 5. Randy, I want to end with one final question that we like to ask. What is some advice that you have for a young player looking to one day play lacrosse professionally?
Oh, this is a couple-part answer here. One would be practice. Always have a stick in your hands. Whether it's around the house, whether you're shooting on a net or whatever, carry it around with you. That would be one. Get used to the feel of the stick. The second one would be to watch other people. One of the biggest things that helped me growing up was watching different players and seeing what they did and putting it into my game. So watching a guy like, John Grant Jr., him do something sweet, or for me it was John Grant Jr., Colin Doyle, John Tavares, Cody Jamieson, guys like that, and trying to mimic their game while also having your own game. I think that's pretty crucial to always have a big bag of tricks, and I think that can take you a long way.
No, I think that's some great advice for these young listeners out there. Randy, this has been great. Where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Staats83. That goes for Instagram too, Staats83.
Awesome. Well, before we go, too, we want to remind everyone that the Swarm are holding their final weekend of training camp in Atlanta. On Sunday, November 24th, you guys will be at Infinite Energy Arena, where fans can come and watch the practice for free from 11:30 to 2:30. So, Randy, thank you so much for joining us. Congrats on a terrific season with the Blaze, and best of luck this season with the Swarm.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me.
If you enjoyed this interview, please leave us a review on Apple, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure to follow us on social media at Pro Lacrosse Talk, or visit our website, prolacrossetalk.com. And finally, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode, and we hope you tune in next time to Pro Lacrosse Talk.
Today's show is being brought to you in part by Stitcher Premium. You can use Stitcher Premium to listen to shows ad-free such as Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, My Favorite Murder, Wolverine the Lost Trail, or our favorite, The Fantasy Footballers. For only $4.99 a month or $34.99 a year, you get access to Stitcher Originals, bonus episodes, and comedy albums. Better yet, if you go over to Stitcher.com/premium and use the promo code lacrosse today, you can get 1 month free. So head on over to Stitcher, sign up, and get your free trial today.